I really am, because the people there, we have people in our family who are straight immigrants. They have, they're legally here. They're supposed to be legally here, right? They
Mm,
have all their paperwork, but we're already seeing that that doesn't matter,
mm.
right? So you could be walking down the street and they could be rounding people up, and you just be another person. Well, hey, we got another, you know,
Right,
person who looks like an immigrant, and they just round them up with everybody else, you
right,
know,
right.
and that's crazy. That's crazy because now we're back to Giuliani's time where everybody's getting profiled and getting thrown
No,
up
this is
against the
worse.
gate
This is
and
worse.
getting handcuffed. But just to give you an
Yeah,
idea,
yeah,
right?
I get it.
Because
Yeah,
just to give you an idea where, and I don't know. Listen, this is worse, yes, but Giuliani, that was bad.
yeah. No,
That was bad.
that was a different time. Yeah, that was definitely a different time. Kiani, are you worried in any way?
Myself,
Yeah.
I think very similar to what Zay was saying. I don't think I am going to be targeted, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm supposed to be taking a trip out of the country next month, right? I'm supposed
Facts.
to be going to Europe.
Yeah.
So, while I'm out there, some shit goes down and they tell me I can't come back. What am I going to do? I mean, I think that anything is possible. I don't think I can say with 100% certainty that I won't feel the brunt of the attack. I don't believe I will. I don't think that,
I
I'll
think
be
you're just gonna have.
profiled in that
I
way.
think you'll just have to go through extra. I mean, I'm not wishing this on you. It just seems like we're headed to this direction. It just seems like people who look like you have to go through a little bit of a longer wait and more steps, I guess, to prove yourself than you know other races. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I have heard reports, and again, I don't know what's fully true
Right.
and what's, made up at this point, right? Because there's just so much circulating there's no facts.
Right.
But there has been what I've heard of folks getting stopped at the border and told that they can't come in. Folks that are citizens, right?
Mm.
Um, right, and they have to go through extra levels of screening or X, Y, and Z, or they're saying that Trump is not allowing anybody to come in from XYZ country. Again, I think that all of these could, be very high possibilities to happen.
So if Zay, if you get detained, man, just good luck, my guy. Like, I ain't got bail money, so I don't know necessarily what we can
I'm a
do.
wild out.
Well,
I'm a
and
wild out.
before we move on, that's the thing. Like, I wish we can share is that because this isn't in just profiling; it's also a reaction to profiling. Because I feel like if we react in a hostile way, like for instance, let's use it for an example. I know your temperament, and I believe you're respectful to authority and cops. But let's say you're just having a bad day and you get pulled over by ICE agent who's covering his face, and then they're asking you certain questions, and then you're gonna get in. Like, I just feel like you giving the raw attitude or response is another excuse why you can end up in a situation where Jose just got detained, and we know he's a U.S. citizen, but the way he talked to the cops or the way he talked to ICE caused him to get apprehended, and now he's having to deal with all this extra stuff. So I just want to tell you and just everybody who's watching, like, yo, I know it sucks, and I know it's not ideal, but it's just have your things in order. Try to keep you cool as much as possible, especially you, Zay. I know how you can get, you know.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something though. We're all concerned about what's going on and everything, but we can't forget that yes, the extremes that these people are going to are crazy. They still have they. It's the federal government.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
Sanctuary
Yeah,
sanctuary states is a beautiful thing, but in the eyes of the federal government, that don't mean
it don't mean
shit.
shit. Hell no.
That don't mean shit. Just like all the legal weed shops and all that other stuff, the federal government wants to come down and shut all that shit down. They can. They can.
Facts.
You know what I'm
So I
saying?
have a question.
God,
Why do you guys believe that ICE agents are hiding their
I
faces?
hate that
And
shit.
And why haven't more of those folks decided to leave? Given that, I'm sure some of them are Hispanic, some of them, can relate to the struggle. I'm sure not all of them are US born. So I'm sitting here and be like,
I hate,
why?
that's such a great question because that tells me something about this isn't right. That tells me something, something about this. If you
Yeah,
have
but
to,
it's but it
no, let me
yeah,
finish.
but they also
If you have to cover your face, okay, and I understand certain people might want to protect their identity. I don't. That's not a requirement. When FBI agents, let's say they're doing a raid, whether it's on an office in Wall Street, whether it's anywhere, they don't hide their faces. They're federal FBI agents. They don't hide their faces. But these ICE agents, some of them, not all of them, hide their faces, and I think part of that goes to something inside them is like, yo, this don't feel right, and so I don't end up on that summer jam screen. I kind of want to make my identity, you know, private. Go ahead, Zay. What were you gonna say?
well, it's all about protecting themselves. Because think about it, I'm sure some of these ICE agents are going into their own communities or into their own cities, right? So imagine me being from Harlem and going and living in Harlem or around Harlem and picking up all these immigrants and deporting them, and I live downtown. You think I'm not going to run into somebody at some point in time? The city's big,
Yeah,
but
I can. My thing is, I can
it's
easily. I can. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I can easily justify that by claiming, listen, this guy committed these such and such crimes. He's here illegally, and we're apprehending him. Let's say if it was by the letter of the law, somebody is here illegally. This is by going by what they said. They were here illegally. We're apprehending him. They committed a violent crime or drug crime. We're deporting him. I can't march for that because like he's not supposed to be here. He's doing bad shit. I can't march for that. Like that's warranted. Yes, you're doing your job. There's something about what's going on in the grander scheme of things where they kind of know inside their heart, like, uh, I rock with the president, but this doesn't look good. So I'm gonna do my job, but I also want to protect my identity at the same time. There's something to that. Some of them know
I'm
what they're
sure
doing is
I'm
not
sure
right.
this I'm sure this I'm sure this that's part of it also. A lot of them don't feel good about what they're doing. But it's their job.
Well, I'm sure that they feel a little bit. I saw a video trending again, folks in the Congress, having conversations about where to do cuts in X, Y, and Z. And they're saying, I'm looking at this proposal for X amount of millions, trillions of dollars for bonuses for ICE agents. $40,000 bonuses
Oh yeah,
per
I've seen
ICE
that.
agent
Mm-hmm.
is what they were proposing on top of their salary. And it's like you're paying them a $40,000 bonus to rip families apart and deport people.
They're looking at it as it's their job. They're looking at it as that's my job. That's what I was hired to do. And some of them are looking at that at what their responsibilities are, and that's they don't look at it like that. They're looking at it as I have a job to do. I have a quota to fill, and if we do our job, we get this bonus. That's how they look at it. It's another job for them, and they probably live in a community. I disagree with you there, Zay, where I don't think they live in those same communities that they're infiltrating. Like they probably live in a very right leaning, very conservative neighborhood where a lot of their friends, a lot of their neighbors actually agree with what they're doing, and they're fine with that. But they
I
look
don't
at it as
think
like
all of
the
I don't think all but I don't think all of them do. That's like saying all cops live in
nah.
those areas or I don't think they do. I mean, listen, even if they're coming from California and they're coming all the way over here to deport people, they don't want to be on the news and put their face on the news because there's going to be retaliation, brother. Especially places like
Yes.
LA.
Mm-hmm.
You get one of these guys who are affiliated and be like, yeah, we're gonna smoke this thing. You know what I'm saying? Just because. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put your face on blast.
Yeah, but you're law enforcement though.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does
Listen,
because
if they weren't, if they weren't,
if you apply
if
to
they
be in law
weren't, if
enforcement and your that's the whole thing about being in law enforcement. Okay, so do NYPD officers walk around with masks in their face?
No, but they don't deport people either.
But they're still doing they're doing law enforcement
But
work.
they're not deporting people. You're not ripping people out of this country and sending them to another country, brother. You're not doing that. You're not doing that to somebody's uncle. You're
If
not doing that to somebody's kid. You're not doing that to somebody's parent.
okay,
You're
so
not.
Zay, let me talk. All right, so let me ask you. Let's say your uncle. Okay, let's both of you guys. Let's say you have an uncle who you know is into some shady shit.